Drifters is an anime and manga series set in an alternate fantasy world, where famous historical figures are plucked from their own timeline and collected in a new land. Most of these prominent figures are known as Drifters, but some who have been brought to this world are the Ends, with the desire to destroy everything. The show is brilliant, but with so many important names from all across history, it can be hard to know them all. So, to help you guys get to grips with who you're watching, we're going to go over the basics of each Drifter name, so you don't have to spend more time on Wikipedia than watching the show. So, let's get started. For one of the main protagonists of the show, Shimatsu Toya Heesu doesn't actually have that much background. Toya Heesu was a samurai who fought for the Shimatsu clan in the war against Tokugawa Ieyasu and his allies. He was a brave warrior, but this was once nearly his downfall when he was ambushed after he charged ahead in the Battle of Kyushu, only escaping thanks to his uncle Shimatsu Yoshihiro, the same one he gave his life for in the Battle of Sekigahara. Toya Heesu was killed whilst fending off against enemy soldiers so that his uncle could retreat once defeat was certain. His uncle was then able to lead the Shimatsu clan to prosperity, so his death was not in vain. Oda Nobunaga was a brutal but powerful leader, who united not only his fragmented clan but also much of Japan. A tactical genius, he used deceit and confusion to defeat superior armies, all the while slowly gaining allies from the clans he freed. Despite all his tactics though, he was killed when his retainer Akechi Mitsuhide led a coup against him, although the exact reason as to why is still unknown. Rather than be killed by the traitors, Nobunaga chose to commit seppuku instead, a ritual suicide used by samurais. His death led to the fragmentation of Japan once again, which spurred on events at Sekigahara. Natsu no Yoichi was a samurai who fought alongside the Minamoto clan during the Genpei War. A master archer, he is documented at the Battle of Yashima to have shot a fan from atop the mast of a taunting enemy ship on its first attempt, despite his mount being in the waves and the ship rocking as well. Following the war he was made a feudal lord, but lost his castle in a hunting competition to a fellow warrior. Later in his life he formed a temple, of which the administration was so thorough the Natsu lineage could be traced for 800 years until the temple was destroyed in World War II. Scipio Africanus is a Roman leader often regarded as one of the greatest generals of all time. He is best known for his victory against Hannibal in the Battle of Zama, effectively defeating Carthage. At just 18 he fought in the Second Punic War, during which he gained fame for his bravery and patriotism. After moving up the political ranks he was elected to consulship, where he had the power to lead a campaign to Africa, during which he won numerous victories in a row. His final battle against Hannibal was close and ruthless, but he was eventually victorious. The cause of his death is unknown, but he may have committed suicide. Hannibal Barca was a commander in Carthage and also considered one of the greatest generals in history. His military expertise was so revered that Scipio studied his tactics and built upon them, eventually using them to defeat Hannibal. During the Second Punic War, he marched an army across the Alps into Italy, winning multiple victories. Despite his defeat, he is often regarded as the father of strategy, as even his greatest enemy had to use his tactics to defeat him. After serving multiple kingdoms whilst in exile, he was eventually betrayed to the Romans but committed suicide before they could reach him. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid were two members of the notorious Wild Bunch gang, which was the most successful train robbing gang in history. They were brutal, stealing millions of dollars in today's money. This fame resulted in a massive manhunt, but they were able to outwit or kill any who came after them. Eventually the manhunt became too problematic and the Wild Bunch disbanded, with Butch and the Sundance Kid fleeing to Argentina. It is believed they died in a shootout in Bolivia, however the authorities could not positively identify them and they were buried in unmarked graves, still unfound to this day. Naoto Chicano was a Japanese fighter in the Second World War. In April 1943 he was assigned to the front lines, and by July of the following year he was made squadron commander. He was a rebellious pilot but a skilled fighter, and rose to fame of ace pilot during his career, shooting down many enemy planes. He was eventually killed on the 1st of August 1945 when he was shot down by a P-51 Mustang during his mission to intercept a group of B-24 bombers. He was posthumously promoted to the rank of captain for his service. Admiral Yamaguchi was a Japanese admiral in World War II. He served in World War I on the destroyer Kashi and by the end of the war was already lieutenant. He attended Princeton University in the United States for 3 years before returning to the Navy in Japan. By the beginning of Japan's involvement in World War II he was a rear admiral, commanding aircraft carriers Soryu and Heesu. He was part of the attack on Pearl Harbor but eventually died at the Battle of Midway, choosing to go down with the sinking aircraft carrier Heesu. Legend says that despite the panic, he went down with the carrier whilst calmly admiring the moon. And so concludes the first part of this quick look into history. Next time we will be looking at the Ends and the remaining drifters of questionable affiliation. If you like this video be sure to comment, like and subscribe and stay tuned for more.